Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Subspace Developer Sync. Today we'll be getting updates from everyone on the engineering team regarding what they've been working on in the last week, what they plan to focus on this week. We'll go ahead and get started with the core protocol team. Nizar.
Hello, guys. Last week was more interesting than the other ones before that. The first thing I was still working on, I think I shared it last time, was substrate upgrade. The basic issue with that was that we are running out of space on CI, and the idea was to just clear up some things, but that would be too easy. On Windows, some files are not deletable for some reason. Developers of the crate whose files are not deletable do not have any idea why that might be the case. So I'm still experimenting with different tips and tricks how I can work around that to clean some space and make it actually pass CI. Otherwise, it works. While testing different CI runs with that, I was also working last few days on the consensus upgrade, version 2.2, the way we call it, based on the ratio coding with polynomials. That is progressing nicely. There is one blocker. Some mathematical properties do not hold when we are doing some interesting transformations. So we are still debugging with Daria what it is. But I did submit a pull request with some primitives for that. And this week I plan to work more on that. What is left is to fix tests for SPE Light Client and for the execution. The challenge there is that it actually duplicates a lot of consensus kind of logic for creating fake headers and blocks to actually make block production work. And I want to avoid that. And for that, I plan to actually create a new crate, which will be holding primitives for farming. So you can create kind of like farming instance without actual farmer, and you can like farm in memory or whatever you want. And that should be very helpful going forward. So I'll probably spend a few days working on that and finishing the consensus parts, assuming we can fix that problem with Aria. Yeah, I think that's all on my side.
Great. Shamil, you're next.
Sure. Last week, I made several improvements for DSM. I changed pieces cache for nodes and farmers, and new data structures are better suited for our use cases. I also created an example for protocol labs to help them to fix an issue with Cadence. This week, I will finish minor tasks for DSM, like metrics gathering, and most likely start planning the next stage of the DSM. The next stage will add features for objects. That's it.
Thank you, Shamil. So now we can move on to domains and execution. Lu Chang.
Yep. Hi, everyone. So last week, the focus was the initial co-domain node implementation. So except for a few missing pieces, now the initial co-domain nodes, like co-payments, is basically done, which means it's able to run with the working co-domain node bundle production. The PRs are now under review. One important missing feature is the co-domain nodes bundle election verification on the system domain, which can be very likely done tomorrow. Apart from that, the primary focus of this week will be refactoring this co-domain node prototype because it's hardly maintainable going forward. Yeah, that's my updates.
Great. Ved.
Yep. Hey everyone. Last week the main focus was to finish up the relayer part of codomain messages, where relayer is relaying the message from the codomains. Now that is done, and now that Lushang has finished up the codomains client side of it, I would really like to start integrating the relayer, starting the relayer at the specific points within the service as well, so that the relayer is integrated if enabled. And there is a small change that needs to be done on the domain tracker related to state root confirmations for the codomain. I'm going to handle that once this is done. That's pretty much the plan for this week.
Great. Parth. How is
Yeah.
cross-chain communications coming?
Yeah, so still doing onboarding, but in the final stage of it. So last week it was completing the Celestia write-up, basically describing how Celestia works and what is their implementation looks like. Apart from that, started working on cross-chain data availability part. Basically reviewed optimism deeply, specifically going through the code base, their blog post, any technical resource I could find, and also just completed writing it up. The next thing for me for this week would be to start working on the remaining two roll-ups, which are Arbitrum and Starkware.
Great. Ning, how's your onboarding coming?
Hi. Yeah, for last week, I will still going through my onboarding cherries and had some one meetings. And onboarding cherry is almost done with some one meetings scheduled at this week. And also that I had studied reading some material about blockchain integration and consensus veto. And for this week, I will studying reading the short code to get familiar with the code base.
Great. All right, switching gears, gonna move over to product. Arthur.
Hey everyone. On the product side, we had a great discussion last week about moving forward with how we're gonna bring back a Subspace desktop development at post TrailerBits audit. So that was a good discussion. On the engineering side, I'll let the folks talk about it more, but CLI SDK has been going well. We have a great README. You guys can check it out. And also we've been doing some great progress on block support. So I'll let the team talk a little more about that. Oh, and no updates on the partner side.
Great. Serge, how's SubSquid coming along?
Yeah, so we added processing of blocks, events, calls, and extrinsics. We added calculation of blockchain history size for each block, as well as space pledged. Updated README for the repository, and currently I'm working on setting up some unit tests, linter, and GitHub workflow for this stuff. And after that, if there is nothing more urgent on the backend, I can start doing some front-end stuff.
Great. And Natasha, how's the front end coming?
Good. For now, we completed all the screens we needed for the MVP. For this week, I'm completing applying the design we got for Alex, and also working on setting the workflow for deploying to GitHub pages, the blocks Flutter.
Are we still planning on having a staging environment, Arthur, with Versal?
Yeah, I think we should set that up so I can create a ticket for that. We could talk more about it during AppSync, about how to much more on that.
Perfect. Thank you. Yvonne, how's the SDK?
Everything is good also on the SDK side. I finalized everything during the last week. So like there were a bunch of bug fixes. Also there were like final feature which was completed, the node sync. Yeah, apart from that, I added some more introspection into the farmer and the node. Yeah, also added some docs. And I guess this week I just generally have nothing to do apart from like publishing docs, maybe fixing VCI. I mean, like extending VCI. So yeah, that's it on my end.
Okay. Great. Bozgan?
Hello. This week was really busy and we have lots of new changes. First of all, we added subscription logic for the solutions to the CLI. After that, we decided to go with utilizing screen and tmux commands for daemonizing the farming process to the background. and implemented another command, which is info, which will relay information about if there is any farmer instance is active, what is the total space pledged, what is the current chain spec, and so on. As Arthur mentioned, we had updated as README and set a README for the CLI repository. There is now also a single instance check for the farmer so that the users won't be able to accidentally farm with multiple instances for the same chain spec. And lastly, I just today discovered a slight bug related to the subscription to the plotting progress. Synced with Ivan. Ivan immediately fixed it. I tested it again on the CLI. It works now. Thank you, Ivan, for that. And last but not least, we added graceful shutdown to the CLI with the Control-C command. Yeah, that's all. For the rest of this week, I will try to update the release YAML file to the workflows. And I may add some docs as well, along with some tests. So this will be the rest of the week.
Great. I got a chance to play with the CLI some last week. It's great. Much easier workflow to get Node and Farmer up. So looking great. Is that everything from products? I think so. Guess we'll move to R&D. Daria.
Hey, hello. So last week, first thing that I did, as I described in plain and mathematical English, what was the code that I written for plotting that is compatible to KZG using a fast Fourier transformation. And that's the thing that Nazar is now implementing for Subspace in a better code that I have written. Then after that, I have finished my write-up about possible archival constructions for Subspace that needs a second round of review from Jeremiah. Then we studied a lot of things that he and Dr. Chen, who was last week at the Hacker House, have came up for our proof of application. And today I was helping Nazar to debug the issue that some, basically after plotting, some of the things were not converting correctly between field elements and byte arrays. And we think it's an issue upstream. And I was able to nail it down to a specific function in a specific case when that happens. And we'll see if they reply, and if they don't, we'll look for a workaround, another way to convert those to bytes.
Sounds like fun stuff. Ozgen, did you have anything from research this week?
No. So I was just trying to read and participate in the meetings, but nothing from my side.
Okay. Jeremiah is out today. He's in, I think, New York meeting with community marketing team. So no updates from him. I know he spent a lot of time with Dr. Chen, so I'm sure we'll hear much more about that. My updates, I continued onboarding, so spent much more time digging into code and trying to put together a medium-term engineering roadmap, starting to document all my thoughts and such that I've been gathering over the last 4 weeks. So this week will be more of the same. Is there anything else from anybody, or did I miss anybody? Nope. All right. Well, I guess that is it. We will see you again next week.